Chapter 4 Making Cookies of Little Bear by Laura Rountree Smith. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Carolyn Francis. Little Bear by Laura Rountree Smith. Making Cookies. "Oh, oh, oh!" cried Susan Cottontail. "I have lost my glasses again." Susan Cottontail was always losing her glasses. Bunny and Little Bear looked all over the house. They looked upstairs and they looked downstairs, but they could not find Susan's glasses. Susan Cottontail could not see a thing without her glasses, so she sat down in a chair by the fire. Bunny Cottontail had to get breakfast that morning, and Little Bear helped him. Little Bear went back and forth and called, "Susan, where is the sugar?" and "Susan, where is the salt?" Just as they sat down at the table, someone knocked at the door. Little Bear opened the door. There stood Bushytail. He said, "I want to come in. I must come in. I will come in. I do not mean mischief this time." With that, Bushytail came bounding into the room. He helped himself to a plate of cookies and began to eat very fast. "Ha, ha!" he said. "How I do like cookies!" Bunny Cottontail was busy feeding Susan, because she could not see to eat without her glasses. Pretty soon, Bunny laid down the spoon and said, "Bushytail, what do you want this morning?" Bushytail stopped eating cookies then. He pulled out a roll of paper from his pocket and read, "Resolved that all the animals in the woods will help to start a newspaper. Resolved that Bushytail shall edit the same." "Hear, hear!" cried Susan. "We are going to have a newspaper." "Now," said Bushytail, "we must all advertise in the newspaper, for it pays to advertise." Bunny Cottontail winked and said, "We might advertise for Susan's glasses." Susan Cottontail laughed and said in a whisper, "We might advertise for a name for Little Bear." Susan whispered so loud that Little Bear heard, and he was so pleased with the idea of getting a name that he danced up and down and shouted, "We will all advertise in the paper, Bushytail." "Hurrah!" cried Bushytail. "We surely shall find a name for Little Bear." Susan Cottontail said she hoped her glasses would be found some day, and she passed Bushytail the cookies again. Bushytail said he must go and talk to the other animals about the newspaper. Bunny Cottontail said, "Be sure to bring us a copy of the paper, Bushytail." Little Bear ran halfway down the walk with Bushytail and said, "Be sure to find me a name. Be sure to find me a name." Bushytail went off laughing a short, foxy little laugh. I wonder what Bushytail was laughing about. "You might put your receipt for cookies in the paper," said Bunny Cottontail. Little Bear said, "Can you make cookies, Grandmother?" "Can I make cookies?" said Susan Cottontail. "Well, if you will find my glasses, we shall see." Then they all looked again, but they could not find Susan's glasses. "Let me make the cookies this time," said Bunny Cottontail. They gave Susan a chair in the kitchen, and Bunny got a bowl and a spoon, and Little Bear helped to stir the cookies. "Put in plenty of cinnamon," said Susan, and Bunny put in the cinnamon. "A-kitchew!" cried Susan. "A-kitchew!" cried Bunny. "A-kitchew!" cried Little Bear. "Do close the door!" cried Susan. "We are all taking cold." "How about sugar?" asked Bunny. "Put in plenty of sugar," said Susan. Soon the cookies were all baked. "Can I not make cookies?" cried Bunny proudly. Just then the most surprising thing happened. Susan took a bite of a cookie, and she began to laugh and sneeze. Bunny took a bite of a cookie, and he began to cough and choke. Little Bear took a bite of a cookie, and he cried, "Oh, Ma! I want my Ma!" "We put in pepper instead of cinnamon," cried Bunny. "Don't tell Bushytail," said Susan. "He would laugh at the mistake." Then they all laughed. They thought it was a great joke for Bunny to put pepper in the cookies. End of making cookies.